Welcome to Spiritual Dialogue with Father Udon de Castro. We are here at Cariana Lay Monastic Community. This community can be likened to a small paradise of God, isang munting paraiso ng Diyos. Before we give Father Udon de Castro greetings from Sister Tachi.
Yeah, hello to listeners and viewers.
Now here's Father Udon de Castro. Father?
So we had been discussing the dubia, and the reason we are discussing the dubia is because very few people know about it.
Yes, Father.
And very few priests know about it. Very few bishops know about it. Because it's the first time it has happened clearly in the history of the Catholic Church. So maybe people have heard about it, dubia and so on like that, but they don't know the mechanism that goes about it. They do not realize that the dubia is a canonical process in the Catholic Church in which cardinals correct a pope when he commits a mistake. When the pope commits a mistake, the cardinals correct him. After all, he's human. The cardinals correct him. If he accepts the correction, he remains as the pope.
If not,
Because the pope can commit a mistake, really.
Okay.
And all he has to do is withdraw the mistake. And that's finished. He continues being pope. If he does not accept his correction and insists on his error, then he is commanded to leave the papacy. He's told to leave the papacy, to stop being pope.
yes, Father.
So it's a very serious mechanism or canonical process in the Catholic Church. Since very few know about it, you cannot take sides. Because when God tests you, you have to take sides. And when a dubia occurs, it's God testing the Catholic Church. And there are many times God has tested the Catholic Church to check on your faith, if you believe or not.
You talk of individuals now, Father?
Yeah, individual. So the dubia happened because God is testing you, Lodi, and you, Tachi. And all the bishops and all the priests and all the Catholics are being tested.
Is that a sign that all Catholics should study the doctrine of the Catholic faith?
Well, at this point, maybe that's a little too late because you're being tested already.
Okay, by this time you should know.
You cannot study when you're sitting down at a test table when you have examination. So when a test happens like that, and God allows this test, and in fact it happened, that there's a dubia, it's because He's testing you, Lord, and Tachi, for you to find out whether you have the Catholic faith or not. For you to check if you're a Catholic or not.
But Father, isn't it a sign that the reason why God gave this kind of test is for you to study more? Everything is not late, as
Well,
long as
yes.
you're aware of it.
After the test,
Yes.
if you find yourself failing the test, you study more. Even if you pass the test, you continue to study more.
Yes, Father.
In the Catholic Church, you have to continue studying because you can never fully understand or learn the teachings of the Catholic Church by yourself. You have to keep on studying.
But if the leader of the Catholic Church made a wrong statement that is against the Catholic teaching, what is the consequences of this, Father?
At this point, it has not been declared whether what the Pope said is right or wrong. It has not been declared yet because he has not answered the dubia. He has not yet answered it. So there is no formal declaration whether what he said is right or wrong. There is no formal declaration. However, you and I, Lodi, can know already the answer Because we know very well scriptures. We have our scriptures. We have studied the fathers of the church. We know the right answer to his statement.
Statement, yes.
The answer to the dubia. We know. I know. I asked you last time and you answered it correctly. And we were wondering how come Pope Francis has not answered it for the last 500 days.
Oh, this is just a guess. Maybe the Pope knows what he did was somewhat against the teaching of the Catholic Church, and he doesn't want to answer it directly for fear that he will be accused of declaring a wrong doctrine in the Church. Just thinking, Father.
Probably you're right. He knows his answer is wrong and he doesn't want to declare it. And he's just waiting for those cardinals who corrected him to die because they are very old.
Oh my God.
Oh, Father, like my question earlier about the case of infallibility, you gave a good answer. What was the answer for that? If they say he's infallible, what does one say?
Yeah, the Pope is always infallible. So when you find a person who is fallible, committing a mistake, we have the reason to suspect that probably he's not the Pope. And the canonical correction, which is called the dubia, is precisely that, in the sense that he's being corrected. If he retracts from his mistake, he continues being Pope. But if he does not retract from his mistake, he will be declared deposed by the cardinal. So he stops being Pope. Because the cardinal are sure he is fallible and therefore he's not the Pope.
That makes good sense.
What is the Cardinal doing now? Just waiting for the Pope to clarify a certain statement for 500 days now?
In fairness to the Pope, they're waiting politely for his answer.
Okay.
But for the meantime, the
What happens?
Catholic are confused whether to follow this kind of teaching or this declaration statement or not.
Well, we are not worried about the Catholics because we know very well that at this point the Catholics had been polarized already. That the good Catholics, they know the answer and they have taken their side. And those who are, as Christ himself says in the Gospel, those who do not believe, had been polarized. They will never know what is the right side.
So, Father, this is the test you're saying earlier, the test for each individual to make a decision. And the
Yeah.
decision has to be now.
God is always testing us from the beginning of time, from Adam and Eve. God has
So,
been testing
at this
us.
point, Father, there's no fence sitting, no mediocrity at this point. You have to say, I am for or I am against, or just what?
Well, we were never encouraged to be fence-sitter. The moment we have a test, we're supposed to pass the test. You cannot postpone it. And that's what we're discussing right now. The collateral damage. We're worried about the people who are going to fail the test. In our last program, we mentioned the fact that the Pope has not yet answered.
Yes, Father.
Actually, it's around 540 days already. And he has not answered. And everybody knows that. Because everybody's counting
The days.
the days and everybody knows he has not answered. But bishops and priests are already practicing allowing the remarried to receive Holy Communion without annulment. They are already practicing it, meaning to say they have decided what is the answer.
They taken their side.
They have taken their side and they have taken the wrong side.
Maybe that's the reason why the Pope doesn't clarify his statement, because some of the cardinals or priests are following his statement.
That's true.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, the only reason they're following his statements because it was a pope who said it.
Ay.
So they're following that statement. If Pope Francis never said that, they would not follow it because everybody knows in their heart you cannot do that.
But like if you follow it and you're a bishop or priest, you believe in it, Father? You think they believe in it?
Of course.
So they must believe like him.
Yeah.
So there's no truth about it.
That's what we call the collateral damage. That here is a pope who said something wrong, and there is a dubia to defend his wrong statement. He has not yet confirmed the fact that his statement is wrong, and yet everybody is following it.
I guess that should not
Maybe-
Okay, sorry, Don.
What?
Go.
What the Pope is thinking is that since they're following my statement, why would I clarify it? They have accepted it.
Well, that's what he wants. In fact, he's forcing people to follow it, like seminarians are not ordained unless they follow Amoris Laetitia.
Talaga.
Bishops who wants to go against it are suspended or fired from their diocese. So they're being punished. Which means even if the Pope has not answered the dubia, by his action, he's showing already what is his answer. And as we mentioned before, in the last Bishop Synod of 2015, he has already given his answer. And majority of the bishops have already declared it as heretical. Already declared.
At the
Because
synod,
as
no?
we mentioned before, that the bishops who rejected his proposal at the year 2015 are the same ones who is giving him the dubia. They're not different bishops. They know it's wrong from beginning. That's why they're giving the dubia.
So those who are on his side, they also believe that. So they're really on that.
Yeah.
They don't have the right doctrines either.
So our problem is why would some Filipino Catholic bishops
Yeah.
suggest to the Bishops' Conference of the Philippines to put it into practice already, Amoris Laetitia, when it is being doubted, there is a suspicion that there is heresy in it, it is on hold, and yet they're proposing that the Philippines already put it into practice.
Yeah.
That's very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's good only very few are proposing it and the others are still against it because they know there is something wrong. Like the majority of the bishops of the Bishop Synod of 2015.
So will you say they will push it in a hard, more? Kasi they can only just say, okay, they're not gonna say, well, if you want, this is okay. If not, it's okay. No, they're gonna push it, right? They're gonna ram it down the throat of their diocese. Would they do that?
Yeah, in the sense that, by the mere fact that Pope Francis is already pushing it, encouraging bishops to follow it, seminarians to follow it, even in the World Youth Day, they're being told to follow it. That means he really believes that it is Catholic doctrine. Or maybe he doesn't believe it's Catholic doctrine.
It's his doctrine.
But he just wants to go against Catholic teaching, which is possible.
Oh,
Because
boy.
all heretics are like that. Heretics know that their teaching are against Catholic doctrine, but they're preaching it like Martin Luther.
Because they're heretics, right?
And that's the whole idea, the dubia.
To
The
prove.
dubia is, in fact, telling you you are under suspicion of heresy.
Okay.
But you're given a chance to
prove that
clarify
you're
your
not.
teaching, or
Yeah.
to prove you're not.
And yet the Pope doesn't clarify
Yeah,
it.
no, because maybe
Yes, but his actions are showing he believes that it should be done.
that is the right
Because
thing.
some cardinals are doing his statement.
Well,
Yeah.
Father, we have only 1 minute. Your last statement.
So our worry really is the collateral damage.
Yes.
That these people don't know any better, but just because the Pope said it, they will do it. And then when they die and they face God, and God tells them, well, sorry, you're wrong.
Oh boy.
That's a heresy, that's a sin, and you go to hell.
Maybe, Father, next broadcast you explain more about the collateral damage of the Pope's statement. Thank you very much for watching us. Spiritual Dialogue with Father Don De Castro. Next time, Father will explain more about the subject. Thank you very much for watching.
Hosanna, Hosanna, in excelsis, Hosanna.